Welcome, guys, to the daily analysis for April 6th. Hope you guys enjoyed the long weekend. And now we are back to the markets. So, overnight action, there was news that there might be talks about a 45-day ceasefire. Obviously, that news was also taken back by the same reporting agency that reported the news. They also reported 10 minutes later that there doesn't seem to be any form of short-term solution to the problem. So all the news that's coming out of the Iran US war situation is up in the air, and all we can do is look at the price and make our decisions. So, as we already discussed in the weekly watch list, last week was crucial. We recovered the 50-week moving average, squeezed till the 9-week moving average, and what happens this week is going to determine if there's going to be another panic sell, if the markets will start their recovery. So, obviously, this week is crucial. Overnight, we are gapping up. All right, today is also the day where the NFP report of Friday is going to be digested. And we don't really know how much of that gap up is the NFP report, how much of that is the Iran US war situation. We have no idea. All we can do is look at price. Another news report that comes out today is at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, I think ISM numbers. But that's it for today in terms of news, other than any other tweet that comes out. So let's look at the levels. On QQQ, on Thursday, we gapped down, and at that time, the hourly 9MA was rising. So I had said we'll likely bounce, consolidate, and then what happens from there, if there's going to be any form of selling, it's going to be after that consolidation. On Thursday, we didn't have any selling. In the last 10 minutes, we actually had a pump. Now, in the weekly watch list, we discussed that the hourly 50MA is starting to flatten out, and this area is going to be a crucial resistance, 592 to around 595. So the fact that we are gapping up, just be mindful that that gap up doesn't mean much unless we can pass this resistance. All right, that's going to be the main area, because this was the area where we consolidated for almost a month, slightly more, before we broke down in mid-March. All right, from Feb 3rd until March 19th, we were holding at this level. So the fact that we are getting there potentially overnight, there's a chance it might not break on the first touch. So this gap up today, we have to be cautious about it. So in terms of levels, we obviously have resistance around 589. After that, we have 592 as a level, right? This is where we found resistance the last few times we were here. And then 595. What about on the downside? On the downside, the main area of support is going to be this hourly 50MA, 21MA cluster. So let's say 580 to 577 is your major support. What is the neutral territory for today? The neutral territory for today is going to be this area from 586 until 580. That's your neutral territory. Below 580, you can look for a move lower to 577 and potentially even lower. Above 586, we have 589, 592, 595. That's your bullish territory, and this is your neutral territory for today. So that's about it in terms of QQQ. The first touch of this resistance, it's not likely that we'll break out. If we do, that increases the odds that today could be the follow-through day. So what do I mean by that? It's usually the day that comes 3 or 4 days after the bottom, where right from the opening bell until the closing bell, market is just bought up. So obviously, if we pass this resistance and get above the 21-day moving average, there's a very high chance we'll go all the way to the 50-day moving average. That can happen today if we pass this resistance within the first hour. If we pass this resistance within the first hour, it increases the odds that today is the follow-through day, which also increases the odds that the market has bottomed out. So we'll have to wait and see. It would be, unless the market has some form of advanced news that the deadline tomorrow is going to be respected in terms of some form of peace deal, the chances that we're going to just consolidate in this area and wait for tomorrow's deadline is higher. All right. So the first hour is going to tell us, or the morning session is going to tell us what's the more likely scenario. So that's the overall context as well as the structure for QQQ. Let's